Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Imperial Hotel here in Blackpool, England. We're here for the World 8-Ball Pool Federation Ladies Individual Championship Final for 2017. But before we get the match underway, just a few housekeeping rules. In case of fire, the fire escapes on the rear to my right, on the rear to my left, and in front of me to the left. Please, no drinks in the playing arena. Mobile phones off or in silent mode, please. No cameras or videos during play. And now I'd like to introduce the officials for this match. Please, a warm welcome for Tanya Schmidt, all the way from South Africa. And of course, the timekeeper is Sasha Gauci from Malta, and the head adjudicator, John Hope. And now for the first competitor for this final this afternoon. She comes from Nottingham in England. Please, let's hear it for Kerry Griffith. Her opponent, also from Nottingham, of course Nottingham in England. She is the #1 seed. She was the world champion in 2015, Amy Beecham. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause and wish these two players the very best of luck. Please take control.
Hello and welcome to Blackpool for the final of the Ladies World Championships. Amy Beecham and Kerry Griffiths. Two good friends, two England teammates, both hailing from Nottingham. Should be in for a great final. Commentary today from Mark Shepherd, and joining me in the commentary box, Emma Cunningham and David Veery.
Hi Mark.
Hello guys.
Long time no see.
You've put in a good session this week. We're impressed with the endeavour. So Emma, how do you see this going? These two girls know each other well, so it's probably a tough match having to play each other.
Yeah, they're really, really good friends off the table and practice a lot together, but similar styles of play. It's the first time Kerry's been here. She's come out of nowhere, finally showing her potential. And if she settles, it's going to be a close match. But obviously, Amy's been here the last 3 years in a row, so she's now comfortable, used to that big table. And I can't expect her to not settle.
No, I think playing out there for the first time's the toughest. She won the first year she was out there and then lost to the spectacular performance from Sabia Brunet of France last year. Yeah,
I think it's new for champs, this sort of expectation that she's had on her shoulders, being top seed and people expecting her to just win. And we've seen that in a few of her matches where she's maybe missed a crucial ball but managed to find the champion within and battle through. She won the Masters the other night. She beat Lorraine Fifey in the final of that, and Dave and myself commentated, and she was 5-2 down and pulled it back and just got over the line against Loz.
She just knows how to win these days, doesn't she? That's the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, and watching her semi-final against Katie Martin, it looked like Katie was taking the game to her, but she held herself together.
Yeah, both them players, it's quite a contrast in styles. So, you know, Katie's always hard to beat, and Amy did hold her nerves in the end.
She'd dearly love, of course, to add a second world title, join the multiple winners club.
Yeah, she's more than capable of it, and a few. And so is Kerry. You know, she's very underrated, or has been in the past years, but anybody that plays with her and has played against her can see she has the shots that all the top players do have. So, you know, I'm really pleased for her to have got this far.
Yeah, the interesting thing, of course, will be how she reacts to being out in this arena. First time on a stage quite as big as this. It's always a bit strange. A lot more people watching you. A lot quieter atmosphere where you're down playing your shots.
Yeah, you don't want... well, I hope she doesn't get the happy to be here kind of mentality. You know, she's here. She deserves to be here. She had a phenomenal 7-1 result against Barbara Taylor in her semis. I rushed over because she flew 4-0 up, hadn't missed a ball. And when I got there, she was just a machine.
Yeah, I mean, you don't beat Barbara Taylor by any scoreline unless you're a good player, and 7-1 is a big scoreline. I think you're absolutely right. The pleased to be here is a good way of putting it, because sometimes you get to a final like this and you're kind of surprised you've got that far, and that feels like a good result already, but you've really got to go on and get the trophy.
Yeah, it looks like Amy's taking these reds well, settling straight away, getting her arm going. Unlucky that yellow hasn't come out a little bit further to make it easy to come back across for the black.
Yeah, this last shot is going to be a tricky one.
First test for the final, really, isn't it? Nice long red. Stay on to the black.
Yeah, and the issue is if she misses this, Chris got all the time in the world to get her arm going and settle into this final.
Yeah, and she's missed it by a fair way. They're never easy cutting them all the way down the table like that. It's a long distance the ball has to travel. So this is an ideal opportunity here for Kerry. In amongst a few balls, chance to get settled down. She can go for them if she wants to, or she's, as you say, got plenty of time if she does need to play a safety shot.
Yeah, I think no heroics, just make sure.
I think actually we were talking about this in a couple of the earlier matches. Having a slightly cagey start is often useful for the underdog, because it just gives them a bit of time to play their way into the table, get used to the arena and being out there.
Yeah, and we were all sort of speaking before this and sort of said, get over, watch some of the men's semis, watch the teams, because even just sitting in the crowd, you get a feel for the environment, and you can see kind of how the table will be playing, because they've had practice time, but the table always plays totally different out there.
Yeah,
that's a great shot.
That is a great shot. The Irish team were saying exactly that. They were struggling in their match against Scotland last night, and they were saying how different this table in the arena plays from the practice table, despite ostensibly being the same identical brand new table.
Yeah, and when you play all week in a surrounding with 10, 12 tables, your time out, you're having to stop, maybe change your flow, whereas there, you're all by yourself. So it's always hard to sort of just switch and change.
There's something very strange about playing in silence. It's kind of unusual for a pool player. We normally play in big arenas with lots of other games going on at once. If you find that you're the last one playing, or you're playing in a one-table setup like this, there's something quite strange about it going dead quiet when you play your shots.
Yeah, you can feel the pressure.
Yeah, you can kind of feel everyone watching you.
Especially in the ladies' game, because there's lots of singing going on by certain people in the ladies' teams. Emma being one of them.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, it was actually quite subdued. Some of the men's team stuff, if you're watching the ladies' latter stages in the finals, it was a lot louder than the men produced.
Yeah, we all are a noisy lot. I think you could probably hear the bar rumbling next door. It was that noisy. But Kerry's got 2 shots now here, exactly what she wanted, and there's no real dead yellows.
No, this is exactly the kind of chance she needs. She's not going to get a better chance to open her account in this match. Ball's all fairly open. Well, that's an early sign of nerves, isn't it? That's a pretty bad miss from where she was. I mean, not necessarily going to be a problem because she's got another shot, but she wouldn't really get close to that one.
Yeah, if she's missed that, I can see her laying another snooker here. But she's got to be careful not to lay too many, because all it takes is for one shot, as we seen the other night with Lorraine. You know, pot a ball out of the snooker and land on the black, and then you're left dwelling in your chair.
As we just saw with Dave Fernandez against Ireland as well, same thing happened. Put him to the hill.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, that match, that frame that Dave McQuillan played against Shane Thompson, where Dave looked to be all over it, but as soon as you get into a tactical frame, anything can happen.
Definitely. that was a great frame Shane played.
Yeah, I mean, he really dug in. We were saying in commentary it was a kind of free chance because he'd expected to have lost that frame. There was no real pressure on him, whereas for Dave McQuillan it was just so annoying the position he'd put himself in.
Yeah, and it was quite a big frame, wasn't it? 2 each or 3-1?
Yeah, and I think looking back on it, they'll reflect that that was probably the decisive moment in that match.
Yeah, but it is hard out there, though, and I suppose you do have to appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, we always start with the kind of health warning that we know how hard it is, and it's always very easy to sit here and be critical, but the kind of pressure they're under is immense and is very different from what they're used to playing under. There's a lot on the line, and it's a very unfamiliar situation. And I mean, that's exactly the issue here for Kerry Griffiths, because, as you say, like she's been around a while, but sort of new to the really big stage like this, and suddenly she's 8 frames away potentially from being world champion, which could be quite a life-changing moment.
Absolutely. If both then go, that's quite unfortunate. I think she's played to pot the one on the bottom right corner and hang the other one.
Yeah, that if the bottom left had hung over, it would just make this that bit easier, because she could have played a plant and there would have been a much bigger margin for error.
I'm just hoping the white ball hasn't run too far forward, so she has got a cut and a natural angle to come back across. And you can see it might just be okay.
Yeah, you've just got to cue this. You don't want to be brushing the jaw.
Where's the white gone?
Yeah, it's always the danger of those shots. You just can't really play much position.
The one on the bottom looked just slightly easier to play, didn't it?
Yeah, just off
a
the
little
cushion.
bit, just more off the cushion.
Yeah, she'll be disappointed with that. Unfortunate, but I'm surprised she didn't choose to play the snooker when she wasted her first visit.
Yeah, I think there's probably some sense of feeling a bit embarrassed that she was in that position and thought she should be able to clear up from there.
I'm surprised Amy's played it this way, because there's always an element of risk there. She maybe could have put the white where it is now and chose to play it in the left centre. But she's done it. Great shot to lay it up. It's just she might be a little bit high, so having to have the cue ball travel.
Yeah, if you leave yourself the wrong angle on that, and now suddenly the white, I mean, it's a simple enough shot this, but if the white had travelled an inch or two further onto the cushion, this would have been a test. So, kind of normal service we've come to expect from Amy Beecham. Kerry had her chances in that frame, and really that was a pretty gilt-edged chance. 2 visits with the balls open like that.
Yeah, she needs to put it out of her head straight away.
Yeah, I mean, I hope for her sake that she gets another decent chance. Like we've seen so often that what happens is you have one good chance and then the next chance is more difficult, and you kind of start chasing it around.
Yeah, and the pressure builds.
Yeah, and particularly if you're new to this, getting the first frame on the board is quite a big thing.
Yeah, she has been playing quite carefree all week, and it's great to watch when players play like that. You can see Kim, Jo, Jodie, Lisa, Andy.
Hopefully listening to our commentary there.
Yep. Of course, the front 3, Kim, Jo and Jodie, are teammates of Amy and Kerry. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to play this season. Some politics going on somewhere. But, you know, you see both these players here playing the way they are in a world final, and they're not playing as regular as other players, so that's even more of a feat, really, to play this competitively.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's nothing like having a bit of match practice, and those team matches really toughen you up as well. So, another chance for Kerry here.
There's those scrappy 3 balls at the top end of the table there. She'll be looking at developing that yellow as soon as possible.
Yeah, this is exactly the problem. It's a slightly more difficult opportunity than the last one. Those balls I'm talking about, she's going to have to do something with them.
She may even contemplate just rolling the yellow above the one she's playing now over the corner pocket if she can drop on it. I think that's what she was looking to do.
Yeah, I think that would probably have been wise. She just needs to get a foothold in this match. She doesn't want to start chasing difficult opportunities.
faced with a tough shot now to try and get control of the frame.
Yeah, it's just slipped slightly out of position. Also, this added time pressure, we hear the referee calling 30 seconds there. Everyone says how much quicker the time seems to go when you're out in the arena. That's a good pot, though.
Keeps her in it.
So, still the problem top left. The other 3 yellows obviously easy enough, but she can't afford just to keep potting the loose one. She's got to come up with a plan for this.
Yeah, and she can't go into it off the top right-hand yellow because there's a red in the middle of them that's kind of stopping her from getting to them.
Yeah, she's kind of backing herself into a bit of a corner here.
And is she going to try and screw across into them that way? She's not going to be guaranteed a shot, though.
Yeah, as you say, she can't go off the top cushion, so...
Yeah, she's tried to screw into it. She's cued that nice, just not got into it enough.
Yeah, it's quite tough. These knee cloths can be quite slippery. It takes a while for the spin to grip. You can't always get into them as much as you expect to. So, the position getting more and more difficult here. And the trouble is, you just know, as soon as Amy comes back to the table, she's just going to love a position like this with lots of balls and lots of opportunities.
Yeah, maybe just try and cover this pocket now, but she's trying to make something difficult for Amy.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. She's made sure she's got that red tied up, which at least provides her with some insurance. Normally a pretty aggressive opponent, Amy, in terms of going for finishes, but there's obviously some problems with this one.
Yeah, she'll try and free her balls out. That's a risky shot because from here, Kerry could pot the one over the corner and then sort of leave the white a couple of inches back so that she could play the central yellow into the right middle and split off the cushion into them. So she's got half a shot if she chooses to play that.
Going for the defensive option. It's difficult finding the balance because she doesn't really want to go after something tricky, but equally, is she going to get a better opportunity?
In this sort of situation, I think sometimes give your opponent the chance to go for it and hope that they miss.
If Amy gets the right position on that red in the middle of the table, it's a perfect angle to split those 3 balls that are tied up at the moment.
Yeah, Amy has more options, hasn't she? You can see from the way both players are playing the cue ball, everything's kind of dropping, make sure of the pot. There's nothing being hit with a whole lot of conviction or ease.
No, that's exactly the trouble. When you're new to this, or, I mean, not new to the game, but new to the situation they're in, or you haven't been there for a while, you're trying not to do things wrong rather than playing the positive shots. And if you watch the next final we've got coming up, McHill against Phil Harrison, by virtue of just being out in this arena so much more, they're both so confident. They always strike the ball properly. I mean, none of this kind of just dropping the ball around the table.
Yeah. She tried to long double that in front of them, and that would have been a great shot to take control of the frame.
Yeah, it looks to have turned out pretty bad. The saving grace might be the cue ball. Looks like she might have knocked both of the reds out of the cluster.
It's whether Amy can get to one of these top reds.
Yes, it was a good cue ball there at least.
And it is a total snooker. Should easily be hit here. Maybe even potted.
Yeah, it came very close.
Awkward cue in here for Kerry. But I suspect she hasn't really got much other choice than to try and do the same to Amy and just leave the white ball on top of her bottom bottom yellow.
Yeah, and when you see it from overhead, I don't think those reds quite plant, so...
She looks like she's playing the lower one. Great white ball, trying to get that white behind the black. Well thought out shot, that.
Yeah, she's got the one red tied up now, at least. I mean, I think she's still going to be in trouble because Amy's got a few balls. She can play a shot to the top right, and then that one if she wants to cover the top left at some stage.
Yeah, that plant was just off, so it had to be made.
Yes, but I mean, it's not exactly any harm done, but a bit annoying that didn't drop from her point of view, because then she could have played the cover.
I wonder if those two yellows, if the one on the left-hand side goes, could she screw into the red next to it and leave herself a shot if she pots the one dead weight?
It's very close, isn't it? I think she might have to go for something. Yeah, you see it from that angle. You probably just squeeze it in, but you might have to turn it over with a bit of side. Again, not entirely confident. And the trouble is, as well, you see the position that the cue ball was going to end in. I mean, I don't know whether maybe, to be fair, she was playing it deliberately like that to try and leave the cue ball there.
Yeah.
I think at this stage she just really wants to get a frame on the board, just get started. Like once you've got one or two, you feel like you can settle down into your natural game. We've seen a few matches this week where the first few frames have been a bit scrappy, and then once both players are in there, they suddenly start clearing everything up.
Yeah, it's all about focus, isn't it? It's easy to get distracted from things out there as well, and that takes practice.
Yeah, it's basically something that's pretty difficult to get experience of without doing it. You can practice playing the pool, but you can't really practice being in this environment. How did your Northern Ireland team get on this year?
We got to the final of the team event, which was a great sort of achievement for us. We have a few new players, still a few old, but we had a really tough semi-final against Australia and managed to win that 13-12. It was an epic battle, but England were too strong for us in the final in the end. Yeah, I think we lost something like 13-6.
Still a great run to get to that point, and must be a lot of confidence from that semi-final.
And we finished 4th in the group, so we weren't exactly favourites going into it.
Well, short of going home with the trophy, that's at least sort of happy memories for everyone to leave with, and
yeah.
It's never any disgrace losing to an England team as strong as that.
Definitely not. Oh, that was loose.
Yeah, and actually she was quite lucky. She almost slipped past that yellow, and if she had, she'd have left it on. I mean, she still left an opportunity here, but she almost left a much easier one.
And she's put a red semi-safe on the bottom rail, so, you know, a bit of a sort of half chance here for Kerry.
Yeah, and she wants to take advantage of that, where she's not going to see her opponent missing many balls like that, so wants to try to punish the misses. If she feels that, if Amy feels like she's going to get second and third chances, it's going to lift the pressure.
One good positional shot here.
Yeah, it's not actually that easy to get perfect position, I don't think.
Oh, she's hit the black.
Oh, dear, she almost went in off as well.
She might still be okay, at least to get the pocket here in the top left.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it may end up being quite a big pocket. She could be one of those ones that drops in when you almost don't want it to, because it's going to be quite hard to hold for the other one.
Yeah, the table plays quite fast out there.
Well, the trouble is, if you're going to cover the pocket, you've got to get pretty close to potting it, and it's pretty hard to judge the pace that you stop it just in front. So does she go full-blooded for it and try to play some kind of position on the last yellow?
She tried to come off 2 cushions and hold. Great pot. Or is she going to cut it or double it? Is the red looks as if it might be in the way for the double.
Yeah, I think it would be an easier double ordinarily because it's quite a fine cut and the white's going the wrong way. But yeah, that red is obstructing her.
She might opt to try and treble it.
Yeah, if she just misses the red coming across the table, that's going to be close to the right angle to treble it.
Where she'll probably have to play it with bottom to straighten it up. It's easy to snooker yourself or screw all the way back and not have a shot on the black. Oh, it flew in.
Oh, there was
That's
space
a
for the double. That was a bonus.
Great shot.
Yeah, she hit that well. Well, this is looking better. So just this one black. Now, this is a kind of black if you're playing well. And actually, if you could get your hand right there, I think she's going to be slightly obstructed by those two reds, which just an added distraction.
I think for the spectator, we want this to go in, really, so that Kerry can settle.
Yeah, definitely. Whichever player is supporting it, it'd be nice to see a good final that they're both involved in.
Just cued it. Great shot.
Good shot. Well, that's what she needed. That was a slightly nervy frame. It was a more difficult opportunity than the first one, but that's what the neutrals in the crowd want to see.
A huge, huge double there, that one of the frame.
Yeah, it was. It didn't quite look like, we were talking about whether she'd have to treble it. It didn't quite look like it went, but it was able to just get it past the red. So that was a good shot then. I mean, she found her way around those last balls. Uncharacteristic miss from Amy, and I suspect at the point she missed, she thought she had a bit more time in the frame. The things seemed to be a bit tighter, but suddenly it all opened up.
Yeah, it was a bit of a loose shot from Amy.
You see the referee, Tanya Smith, setting up the balls, also making her debut in the ladies' final. Although we've already seen her out in this arena in earlier streamed games this week. So now she's got her first frame on the board. Can she loosen up a bit? See if she can get something going off this break. That's when it really gives you confidence, if you can start winning at the first visit, particularly off your own break.
Oh, lost the white there, straight enough.
Yeah, when you go straight in off, you've got to take responsibility for it, really. It wasn't like it was kicked in.
And it's a great split here.
Yes, I mean, this is the kind of opportunity Amy is going to relish.
No, either colour look nice. I'd be choosing reds. The white ball isn't travelling so much, less balls to develop, because there's a couple of hard ones, maybe in yellows on the cushion.
Yeah, she's agreed with you.
But these reds are that nicely placed. You don't have to do anything spectacular with the white. It's just standard practice routine. Just drop the white into the right areas.
Yeah, and I think that's quite helpful. It's taken most people a few frames to get the pace of this table, so the less you move the ball about, the better, really.
I'm not sure that was where she intended the white ball to be. Maybe she wanted it a bit further down, in between the three reds, as we look on the right-hand side.
Yes, it doesn't look absolutely perfect, does it?
Although if she is on this one and played for that one, it left the other three easy to drop in as well. So she had options.
Oh, the white back in good position now. So this looks like being a quicker frame than the first two.
If Amy gets these, she'll be relieved after her last shot in the last frame.
Yeah, she will. That will all be forgotten if she gets these. And of course it's her break in the next frame, so there's always a chance when you have a dry break that it can cost you the 2 frames. It looks like costing 1 at least. So just this black to the middle. Good straightforward finish, made to look easy through good cue ball control from Amy.
That will have settled any nerves Amy would have been feeling. You know, quite clinical, having that opportunity and getting them.
Very much so. And I think everyone beforehand was predicting that this would be a fairly fast-flowing and open match. I think we were expecting to see a few clearances like that, so hopefully now they're starting to get into their strides. Did you used to find it a big difference switching to this 8-foot table, having played on the smaller one during the week?
Initially, yeah, because the cushions and breaks are harder to cope with. But when you're out there, and I play a bit of snooker and that when I practice for these championships, so I quite like having the space. It's just getting used to your break, and as you can see, both players haven't got used to that here. When they're on the smaller table, massive breaks, white balls in the correct place all the time, and here we can see they've lost it in the last frame and in this frame. And breaks are a big part of the ladies' game, you know, and men's. You want to get control of the frame as soon as possible.
Yeah, basically the higher the standard, the more important the break is. If you're playing opponents who don't often clear up in one visit, it doesn't make so much difference. But when you're playing people that are going to take these kind of opportunities, you just can't hand the table over.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Kerry here, Amy's break wasn't as kind to hers as her last break was kind to Amy.
No, quite. No, Kerry's was kind of the better break, but that turned out to be a bad thing.
And of course you lose the white, you only get one visit here.
Yeah, that was a really good shot to develop that one, but I think she's been a bit unfortunate with the position.
I think she might just be able to sneak past that red.
Yeah, she can see the one to the bottom right as we look at it now. That will be perfect.
And that's the good thing about this big table, is you have that little bit more space positionally, whereas on the smaller table, she's hit that badly actually. I expected her to get that. Yeah,
she's not really got through that. That's turned out pretty bad as well. The ball's gone safe as well as missing it. Not obviously a completely straightforward opportunity yet. Amy's got a couple of balls in tricky positions as well as this cluster. Happy to be back at the table, of course, though. Better to have a shot than be sitting down watching. Yeah, that's definitely the thing about this bigger table. It just makes the game a little bit more open, makes some of the pots a little bit more difficult, but the trade-off is that it's easier to find clearances because there are more gaps appearing around the place. So Amy promoting one of her difficult reds, which in the process opened up the other two, the bottom right one as we look at it now, pots, and then that will obviously open up the other one. So all the balls do go, but a few of them are still in slightly awkward positions.
One big shot here from Kerry, and she's on the clearance.
Oh, if that had just gone on 2 inches, that would have been perfect. It was a good pot though, and it was a much better pot than the one she missed. We're still struggling slightly for position.
I think if this yellow goes in the bottom right-hand corner, she might be able to screw into the yellow, the white's nearest, and develop that. But that's what she was looking at. It may not go. It looks very close.
Yeah, she'd love to be able to do that because I don't think she desperately wants to have to. She's in fact going to have to play safety, she's decided.
And develop the ball. She may have left that red to go in off the yellow in the right centre.
Yeah, that's what Amy's straight around to have a look at. Well, that'll do. I mean, in fact, it wouldn't have been hugely helpful if it had dropped given the position the whites ended up in. So, Kerry's promoted one difficult yellow, but now been faced with a different problem. This one is now a bit tied up.
Yeah, and even if she pots this, she would be on for the clearance, but the black doesn't go easily in the centre now with Amy's red there.
No, she was at the someone in the bulk line. She could play this yellow into the middle pocket that her hand's nearest, but that's that option not available from where she was. That's a bit loose again, although that was a difficult shot.
Yeah, it was her only shot really to go for. Played it a little bit hard because worst case you try and take the pocket. Just looking at Kerry there, she looks quite focused in her chair.
Yeah, she still looks pretty calm, doesn't she? Which is the right thing, of course, to do. You don't want to get overexcited while you're playing the match.
If that had gone in, I would have fancied Amy to take the others out. She's played it in a way that she would get the pocket.
Yeah, this has been exactly the same position every time Kerry's come to the table. There's just been one yellow that's a problem somewhere. Now the problem is the one top left. And still options, but as you say, the black is also quite tied up, so it's going to be a difficult clearance if it is a clearance.
Might try and screw up onto it now. Yeah, that is what she's tried to do. Just didn't quite cue it well enough.
Yeah, she's played the right shot there. I think you'd rather see her play a positive shot like that, even if she gets it wrong, than try something negative.
Yeah, I was looking at the crazy shot there to free the black up, because she could have maybe left a double on that yellow that she's played on to in the middle, the right middle, to develop the black pocket, and still been on the bottom yellows. But that's just me being crazy.
Well, it's a more advanced standard. She was just looking at the first yellow. You're a few shots ahead. Although, joking aside, I mean, that kind of is how, if you're a top player, you need to be thinking about it. You've got to get all of the balls done, not just the first two or three. So it's right to be thinking about what you're going to do with the black even at the beginning of the clearance.
But she was fortunate there from where they landed, because it tied Amy's red up. And this has given her the opportunity to get control here.
Yeah, so again, opting for the tactical shot. Could have decided to go for those, but there was still a couple of awkward ones. I think the trouble is, the longer Kerry prolongs this frame, Amy's going to get a chance at these eventually.
Yeah, and Amy's going to should want to try and get her difficult red out, while Kerry's yellow is difficult.
Yeah, she'd be a bit annoyed with that, because had that dropped in, she could have done exactly that.
Try and stay that one shot ahead.
Yes, absolutely. If you can free yours while the opponent's still got a difficult ball, whereas once their balls are all in the clear, suddenly you lose that luxury.
But she's covered the difficult yellow Kerry has in the top left-hand side of the table here, so she can't develop it without potting a ball. And I don't think she wants to take that one over the corner pocket.
No, she definitely doesn't. So keeping it cagey still. Amy is just one. Well, they're both really one shot away from being able to go for a clearance. You feel it's Amy that's probably the keener of the two to get on with the clearance. Looking at whether a red could be played down to open that pocket up. It looks pretty tight.
Tried to develop that in such a way where she, in her next visit, because it's going to be a hard clearance for Kerry, she could then pot it past that yellow. And I think she's just underhit it a bit.
Yeah, she wanted it over a bit further to the right. It doesn't go past the yellow from where it is. But Kerry should be reading the danger signs here. She can see what Amy's got in mind, so a good idea is to try and get her balls in play.
Yeah, just get that hard one out, put Amy under pressure. But has it gone safe again?
Yeah, I'm not sure she wanted to hit it. I think she'd have been better just getting it in play somewhere in the middle of the table. She's almost overdone that.
Amy's looking as though she's going to go for this clearance and play that red that she was looking at down past the yellow to open the whole pocket up. Yeah, that's what she's choosing to do. So this could be a frame winning shot.
Yeah, it's important here to obviously to get the red in, but to either get the yellow out of the way or get the red out of the way so that she can pot it.
Yeah, played it nicely, and the red has come out.
Yeah, that's turned out really nice.
So a couple of positional shots from these two top reds to the bottom red. And might opt to play the bottom red now.
Yeah, it was kind of a free chance to get onto that. If she hadn't been on it perfectly, she could have taken the one nearest her now, the top left-hand corner, but now she's on it. Definitely may as well go for it. Oh, well,
she didn't look comfortable there. She got back up off the shot.
Yeah, and actually, it was sort of the worst result, because if she'd have missed it by a shade further, it might have hit the yellow, although the yellow's a bit away from the pocket. That was a disappointing and slightly surprising miss, given the shots that had gone before it. She'd done well to get into that. That was really the easy one.
She did the right thing to get back up off the shot, but just looked as if she rushed it. Unusual from Amy.
I think sometimes you think you've got less time than you have. I mean, the 60 seconds do go quickly, but not that quickly.
Now, can this yellow nudge in there off the knuckle? It's a very difficult shot, and it's a pressure shot. And of course, both these players are short, so I can suspect a few rest shots this afternoon. That was a great shot, played with a rest.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I mean, it's not often on a pool table you have cause to use a rest. I mean, most top players are going to be fairly proficient snooker players, so it's not going to be completely alien, but just this 8-foot table is just that little bit further to stretch sometimes.
I think it'll affect the ladies slightly more as well, with us being naturally shorter.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it wasn't a completely dead set plant. There was quite a bit of distance. Maybe hit that a bit firm.
Yeah, and I think Amy's been let off there.
Yeah, she has. And those are the ones that are a bit painful, where you've been in first and had an opportunity. I mean, actually, whoever loses this frame is going to be a bit annoyed, because they've both had chances of a fashion.
And a little bit of indecision here from Amy. She just needs to make up her mind which ball she's going to go for. And these are always the hardest, because in your head you should get them, but you're then talking yourself out of it. Which way is the right way to go?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is probably the more sensible option, really, but...
Yeah, but she didn't cue that positively.
No, she's left the pocket open. I mean, luckily she hasn't left the white further over to the left so that it can be played immediately, so Kerry's got a difficult opening shot.
I think Kerry's been cueing through the white ball slightly better than Amy so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if she buries this in the bottom left-hand corner.
And actually, it's almost easier. She can get her hand on the table and she just knows she needs to put a proper stroke on this. There's no sort of thought of dropping it in really slowly. She should be striking it properly.
No.
Still not quite happening, is it? That's going to be the end of this frame now, unfortunately, for Kerry.
That was a big moment in the match, though, wasn't it? Because if she could just nail that pot, that would have given her so much confidence to get back to 2-all.
Yeah, and I just think she's not going to get too many chances off Amy. She needs to get her under some pressure early on.
Yeah, we have seen Amy make a few mistakes, and if she's making them and not being punished for them, she'll be feeling more relaxed.
I don't know who you'd make the favourite, but I think most people would say that Amy's experience is probably going to stand her in good stead here. It's a somewhat unfamiliar situation for Kerry, even if she's had a good season and a good tournament.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Although there can be advantages to being the underdog coming into a match. I think the other advantage she's got is she has won it once before. I think for a lot of people, it's getting your hands on that title for the first time that's the single most important thing. Obviously, getting the multiple ones becomes very important in time, but getting into that club for the first time is possibly the hardest thing.
Yeah, and I think as Amy has come back to these championships as a seeded player, you get invited, and as current champion, you'd get invited. But Kerry has come through a qualifier, which in England you maybe have 2 places available, and that's held in a local club somewhere. So very difficult to win, considering the standard within England. And getting to the final, she'll gain 6 ranking points, but I'm not sure it might be enough to get her in a seeded position to come back. So if she can win this event, 8 points
Guarantees
and automatic coming back, it's quite a big thing.
Yeah, it is a big thing. Those qualifying tournaments are ruthlessly difficult. You get so many good players. It's easy to think, well, the qualifying rounds, the people won't be as good, but there are a lot of them, and they're all quite good, and it all starts adding up. You've got a lot of rounds to go through.
Yeah, and of course, if you play for the national team, you get your place in the singles. That's very difficult to do, and neither of these players play in that England team. Champs has stopped playing, and so has Kerry. Champs has been in the world team before, but Kerry made it into sort of the top 15, so the B team, and it's good to see her actually playing this way, because she was more than good enough to be in that A team.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity being in this final. You just want to make the most of it. It's a sort of once in a career moment for a lot of people playing out in this arena in front of so many people.
Yeah, she's been unfortunate there with her wide ball, and may have snookered herself here. Oh, can she get through that gap?
Yes, there is a gap, obviously. Not a big one, though. Well,
Don't lose the white. Oh.
Goodness, that shot had everything. That's a pretty fortunate gap to leave yourself where you can actually see the potting angle. That was about all she could see.
And probably her most difficult red to get on positionally.
Yeah. And then that moment suddenly where it looked like the cue ball was going in as well.
Yeah, it's just gone right round that middle pocket.
Still, you've got to take the luck where you have it. She kind of played the right shot. It was just slightly fortunate circumstances.
Still needs decent position here to get back into sort of clearance.
Just another slightly loose one. There's just been a few like that. She's playing a few good ones, and then one or two she's just getting across a bit.
She can't let Amy go too far ahead here, she needs to stay within distance going into the interval.
Yeah, very much so. So we'll have the interval after 7 frames, so 3 more to come.
Yeah, 5-2, 4-3 is kind of where you want to be. 6-1, and it's gonna be a hard, long way back.
Yeah, especially against a more experienced and more confident opponent. There's nothing really to suggest that it's going to be easy to put 5 or 6 frames past Amy in one go, which is the position you leave yourself if you get too far behind. She can just try and stay with her. She got it back to 3-2. She'll be right in this, whereas 4-1 really starting to be a bit alarming. Also, the other thing is, at the moment, Amy hasn't completely settled, so if Kerry can try and put some pressure on her before she gets completely into her stride.
Yeah, but Kerry just needs to start stroking a few long balls in, because she's missed a few, and she's going to be apprehensive about them.
Yeah, that's exactly what she needs to do, just stroking them in calmly. She just snatched at a couple, which is incredibly easy to do in this situation. See, that's better. Those ones she's just hitting at a nice, consistent pace are going right in the heart of the pocket.
Yeah, there was a nice pause there before she played that ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting back to her proper technique. Trouble is sometimes when you're under pressure and you're a bit nervous, your normal technique goes out the window and you have a sort of partially improvised version.
Again, another good shot here. You can see from just the overhead view there, as she's cued that, we didn't need to look at the pocket to know it was going in.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, sometimes you can just tell by the way the person's hit the shot how it's going. So this is looking better. Just this one delicate one left. These are delicate. We've seen a few of these missed. It's so easy just to push them onto the far jaw, particularly if you're trying to run through for position. This is one of those ones you've really got to keep absolutely still and trust your technique. You don't pop them if you start moving during the shot.
Yeah, and she's done exactly as you just said, Mark.
Yeah, it's just so easy. Those ones into the middle pockets are always harder than they look. I think she just hit it a bit firm. She was trying to get a good position on the black, but it just felt like she maybe hit it just a trifle harder than she was trying to. So, another chance for Amy.
Yeah, nothing difficult here, really, positionally wise.
No, it's kind of a nice clearance for her just to get her arm going again. Doesn't quite feel like either player has really settled down. They both have moments of looking good and then nervy ones appear. Only 4 balls away though from what could be a fairly decisive 4 frames to 1 lead. And a bit for Kerry to think about. There's just been a few misses. General standard of play has been fine, but just the odd one that's got away from her. It's annoying as well because she won't have been doing that all week. She's obviously played fairly close to flawless for large parts of the last week to get to this position. It's annoying when you don't manage to carry that form forward for the one that you care about more, because this is the one that your friends and family and teammates are all watching.
Yeah, and they have had their couple of hours practice on the table, but that's not quite the same as playing matches. And the semi-finals was Monday, so they had the day off yesterday to, I suppose, mentally prepare. But you are coming in cold.
Wow, what's she done here?
Whoa, the only 2 inches on the table.
Yes, I mean literally it is, isn't it? That ball sort of was a target playing off those cushions, but she could have played it a different way if she was concerned there was even a slight chance. And she's got down and played that quite quickly out of a degree of frustration, I imagine.
This is a huge shot for Kerry in this final. It's a let-off, and it's a difference between 1 frame behind or 3 frames behind.
And it's a chance to make Amy sit there and stew about this, whereas if she misses it... And the problem is as well, she's going to have to play position for the black, so this is not a shot for nothing. If the red goes in, she'll have the black, and if it doesn't, Amy will.
Cue it in and black in the centre. Just stroke it. Oh, great shot under pressure.
Yeah, that was much better, wasn't it? A nice timing, nice rhythm again. Right, just make sure now. If you're playing in practice, this looks like a shot you hardly even need to look at, whereas in the match you're looking at it, seeing problems with it.
Yeah, she'll know how big this is as well. But just play it with confidence. Get down straight in the back of the pocket. No.
And how important a turning point could that be in the match? As you say, the difference between 3 frames and 1 frame, and the difference between her opponent being pretty annoyed with herself. And
It's so hard out there.
yeah, I mean, you always feel for the players, and especially the ones making their debut in this situation. I mean, you can only say so many times just how good a player she is and how good a player so many of the people we've seen here are, but it's not always that easy to show it on the big stage.
Yeah, and I just wonder if she maybe dwelled too long on that black. You know, she just got down, potted the red, and she's probably taken 20, 30 seconds to give her reason to doubt herself or doubt the pot instead of, you know, naturally potting the ball.
Yeah, that was my sense as well. It just felt like it shouldn't have been that difficult a shot, but once you start thinking about it, you start seeing problems with it. What did you used to feel about having friends and family? Did you used to have people come over for the final especially, or did you prefer not to? Did it add an extra pressure?
No, I quite like the support and the noise. You know, my parents, they would come over, but I'd always say to my sister, keep them as far away as me as possible, because the people closest to you, you can hear.
Yes.
So occasionally, you know, if you missed a shot, I'd hear the tuts and the Okemas and that just makes you feel even worse because you're already angry with yourself.
Yes.
You don't need to be angry with your family too.
So the white careered in at speed there.
You know, Amy's not quite breaking well yet, and Kerry is getting her hand on the table. I just feel like she needs to string a clearance together to get that confidence back. You know, yellows aren't easy, which is the colour she's chosen. And as we see, when Champs has been breaking, there has been clusters of balls. So Kerry's always having to develop things or slow the frame down. And she's gone to develop those other 2 yellows near the right-hand rail.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes hard to be patient after. When things are going well, it's often quite easy to stay in the right mindset, but when you've had a disappointing miss like the last frame, you kind of want to make something happen. Sometimes maybe you almost try too hard.
She needs this frame to stay in it, because Amy will just start to steamroll.
Yeah, and I think already Amy's starting to understand that she's going to get a few chances, and that's just taking the pressure off her. If Kerry had been able to capitalise on the first few, then it completely turns things around.
Yeah, and when it's hard to get over the finishing line. So it's something Kerry can be thinking as well, sort of never give up. And that is the sort of player she is. She'll keep hanging on to your coattails, giving her too many opportunities to pull back, because when you go that far behind, you kind of lose that pressure and start to play looser.
Yeah, absolutely. The pressure's off and you feel like you haven't got anything to lose anymore.
She's backed herself into a corner here, needing a few doubles if she wants to take these out. And she's freed both Amy's balls in doing that.
Yeah, that felt like a slightly adventurous clearance to me. I'm not sure they were ever quite there. Not obviously completely straightforward either on the red balls for Amy. That's always the trouble though, once you pot a few balls, like now, even though Kerry's going to come back to the table, she's got 3 balls all in slightly awkward positions.
You know, we were talking during the semis about, you know, if Kerry and Amy did get to the final, how difficult it would be for both of them to play each other. Because in one hand, you want to win this world title more than anything. But in the other hand, do you really want to beat your best friend doing that.
Yes.
So they've also got that to deal with. You know, you can't be totally heartless.
No. No, it's a strange kind of position. Although it's nice for them to be able to share this moment, it's a strange and difficult moment in some ways.
I remember being here for a men's final a few years ago when it was Darren Appleton versus Mick Hill, and they're great friends off the table, and everybody, it went so close, and Mick came out winner, and it was emotional. Everybody in the crowd was so happy for Mick, but so gutted for Darren, and it was just wow. And that this will be exactly the same come the end.
Yeah, because the thing about playing a friend is you're going to have lots of friends in common as well, so they're not going to know who to support either. I think all of their supporters will just want this to be a good match. They'll want both girls to give a good account of themselves.
Yeah, and afterwards we'll be celebrating and commiserating with both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to celebrate. There's the trouble with knockout tournaments. Only one person is ever truly happy, the one that wins everything, but such a monumental achievement that Kerry's got through all these rounds and that Amy's come back and got to another final, so whoever wins or loses, they've both got an awful lot to celebrate.
Definitely.
But it's hard to think about that when you're focused on winning the final, and it's right not to be, because obviously your focus has to be on winning.
Amy's just in control here again.
Yeah, Kerry tried to get that yellow over the pocket but didn't quite close the door enough, which is how this has happened.
I'd maybe be looking at playing the yellow beside the black and putting the black safe. She's making her play this red. That's a brilliant shot.
Yeah, it's clever because Amy doesn't want to be playing this red. So calling a timeout so the referee can see if it's touching.
That could just win her the frame, that shot.
Yeah, it's got it wedged in nice and tight.
And if the white had have been touching the red ball then, and Amy couldn't play away without touching either ball, she could have put her in a fouling position.
Yeah, so forced to pot that red that she didn't really want to. It wasn't touching, so she had to hit it. Now, is the space for this red to go past? I think there is a ball's width, but I don't know that she wants to. She now look at the plant.
I don't think the black goes anywhere, so she might just try and nudge it over the pocket.
Yeah, so went for the plant. Well, going all out attack as we might have imagined.
That black must be close. If she's played the plant that way, she must thinks it goes.
It was a good plant, actually. We shouldn't lose sight of that. It was very
great.
awkward.
Very brave shot.
No, she's not come far enough. Actually, that's nowhere near where she was looking at. I don't know if she can do anything from there, but she came round and was looking much nearer the middle of the table.
Opted for a safety there rather than a crazy double or a last shot.
Yeah, I mean, she played that so quickly. I thought she might think about it for a moment more. I mean, it's actually quite a clever shot because she's forced. Well, the only ball Kerry can see is the one that she can't move because that will open the black up. So, slightly awkward situation.
She's tried to just nudge that central yellow and leave Amy no shot, but missed it altogether now.
Yeah, that wasn't what she wanted. Like, missing altogether was always going to be a problem because she's leaving a foul snooker now.
I think that'll just be getting used to the cushions and the sliding of the cushions. coming in here and playing for the first time on this table.
Yeah, definitely. Nervous moment there. It looked like that yellow was going to come and stop next to the black again, but it didn't. So it was a foul snooker. She was able to play her opponent's yellow, clear it out of the way, and then take the black. So ahead now by 4 frames. So one more frame before the mid-session interval. Players just going out to take a brief break. We'll be back with commentary when they are. So Amy back in the arena now, whilst Kerry just shares a joke with some of her supporters behind her. It's difficult if you're watching as well and your players struggling a bit. You want to give them encouragement, but there's only so much you can say when you're out there.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it was Dave Fernandez I was talking to last night, and your biggest opponent is your head, is effectively what he said to me. You know, if you can't conquer your mental strength, then, you know, in situations like this, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, there are always exceptions, but I think most people have struggled on their debut out in this arena. I think a lot of people have needed a go at it to play okay in one match and then they come and win the next year, or sometimes you have to just sort of go through that process. It's very difficult on your first attempt sometimes.
Oh yeah, when I first got there, I had the happy to be there attitude and was afraid of making a fool of myself and wanted to show everybody that I deserved to get there.
Yeah.
And I got absolutely battered. It wasn't good to watch. So feeling for Kerry right now, but it's not over. She'll have an interval. She'll have 15 minutes to group herself, and if she can pinch this frame, it's more than possible still.
I think that's a very good explanation of how it feels, because to an outsider watching this, you think, well, the people who are in the World Championship final, of course they're good. Like nobody watching is doubting you, but I think everybody has that feeling. You want to prove yourself, particularly if you're sort of new to the situation. You're sort of thinking, well, everyone's thinking the other girl's better than me, or the other guy's better than me.
Yeah, or I can't play and get criticised, and it's so difficult because you're battling all those thoughts, and then you're expected to play the best match of you're expecting or needing to play the best match of your life to win the World Championships. So it is a lot going on.
It's strange how confidence comes and goes, because once you string a few frames together, you turn up to the table expecting to clear up every time, whereas once you've missed a couple, you're just thinking, oh, something will probably go wrong here.
Yeah, she's cued into that. Maybe just overrun it slightly, but look at how confident she's played it.
Yeah, I mean, she's, as you say, she's really timed it too well. She's got too much backspin on the cue ball. Still okay, but it would have been much easier if she'd been able to get a hand on the table and just screw down rather than having to involve the side cushion like this. She's going to have to be quite careful. This path isn't... It'd be very easy to overhit this. There's a relatively small sweet spot to end up in. That's why she's played what looks a slightly unorthodox shot there. She didn't feel she could cut that in and hold position.
Yeah, opted for the double and was quite a way off it, actually.
Yes, I mean, given how far she missed it by, to have got it somewhere near a pocket is a bit of a bonus. Now, will that matter? I mean, this should just be such a good frame to win. If she comes in 5-2 at the mid-session interval, Kerry's not going to be delighted, but she's kind of going to feel like she's got some hold in this match. I think 6-1, she's just going to be thinking the match is virtually over.
Play it confidently. She's just tried to free the pocket with that red. Was a long way off. You can just see her mumbling miles away there.
Yes.
I think she knows.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing despite you just don't believe that everyone thinks you're a good player. I mean, as I keep saying, this is the World Championship final. Like, no one thinks anything other than she's an exceptional player, but she just wants to show everyone that.
Just easy drop into your Fraying to go 6-1 in.
And that's the difference with shots like that. You just fancy her to get it, whereas some of the nervier ones that Kerry's had with blacks like that. So that's the mid-session interval. 7 frames in the books. 6-1 Amy Beecham leads. We'll be back with commentary for the second half in about 10 or 15 minutes. Welcome back to the second half of this match. Amy Beecham leading Kerry Griffiths by 6 frames to 1. Match first to 8, so getting towards the danger zone for Kerry. Needs to make something happen. It's been so close in so many of the frames. There's been a huge number of frames that could have swung either way, but it's just been slight carelessness at the end of a couple that led to this scoreline.
Yeah, I think it's important now for Kerry to start to enjoy herself, loosen up. She has nothing to prove, and take the balls the way she has been all week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone in the crowd would like to see her get a couple more on the board, ideally make a match of it. And it has been a match. I mean, actually, watching it, it's not that it's been hugely one-sided, it's just been that the inability to convert the opportunities into frames at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's very well put.
It's not one of those matches where you've only seen one of the players. I mean, it feels like we've seen plenty of Kerry, and she's potted quite a lot of balls. I don't know what the stats would be numerically, but it's just the finishing. But isn't that always the way with Paul? How often do people clear up and then miss the black or sneak themselves on the last ball?
Yeah, and it's the pressure situation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's what's different here, really. It's the pressure of being in an unfamiliar venue, and there's the pressure of knowing that if you win, you're the world champion.
And Amy's had an early chance here to go one away from the title.
Yeah, this is looking quite promising, isn't it?
See Dave and Lauren there having a chat.
Yeah, good performance Dave put up in the men's singles semi yesterday. Not quite to be in the end though against Phil Harrison.
David, a good run in the Masters also.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a terrific week, hasn't he? He's won the world title with England. Played a big part in that team.
Yeah, these aren't gimmies.
No, I'm slightly surprised at the way she played that positional shot. That didn't really seem the most obvious way of getting onto the last yellow.
Might be forced into playing the one on the side cushion now, because if she played the other, the red could go close to the middle.
Well, that's a great shot if it drops, but no, it hasn't got the legs. Now, this is the kind of opportunity she's got to do something with. Not necessarily in one visit, but having had the table handed back, got to make this count.
Yeah, and she's not faced with an easy shot, because both Amy's balls are in the open, but she's got to be looking at covering the black with this red nearest to it. And she don't think she's quite got it. It was a hard pressure shot and so easy to do what she's just done, but she's played the right shot.
Oh, that's very tight, isn't it? So often you see things from this angle, well, of course the ball doesn't go round, but then there is always a little gap.
And the knuckles tend to help, like that shot Shane played earlier when he's split all them balls out in the team final.
Yes, very true.
But Amy's played a good positional shot there. Yellow should go in the middle, and white naturally come up and down the table to land sort of around the black spot. Is she looking at it long? If she's looking at it long, you can see she's gaining momentum and confidence.
Yeah, it gives more assured position playing it that way, even though it was a more difficult pot.
Straight in the centre of the pocket.
So, does this black go clean round? The way she's playing it suggests it does, and it does. So, again, just a millimetre or two. If that red goes properly over that pocket, then that shot isn't possible, and the outcome of the frame is different. Very difficult position now. I mean, 7-1 is exactly the kind of territory you were talking about earlier, where there isn't really any pressure because you're so far behind. You can play with some freedom, but then there's just so few opportunities now because any miss could be the end of the match.
Yeah, and Amy's more than capable of breaking and clearing up. So, Kerry's got to hope she gets balls off her break now and Amy comes up dry. But it's been done before, you know. Bigger leads have been lost. It's just very unlikely.
Yeah, there's been nothing in the way this match has gone so far to offer much hope, but then, you know, a couple of frames on the board and suddenly things can change around. She's just got to get something going and got to get it going quickly.
It's dry.
Yeah, close to a couple of pots, but nothing's gone in.
A few tricky balls, either colour. Red and yellow close together in the top right hand corner. But that yellow next to him makes them more splittable. So I'd probably be looking at trying to find an easy yellow. Maybe plant the red onto the yellow in the bottom left hand corner. But that's playing with confidence. I think she's just going to make sure of getting the colour.
Yes, that shot was a possibility, of course, because it was still an open table, but she's chosen the yellows.
Yeah, and going for the plant, you're getting that tricky ball out first off. But she's just gaining control of the frame there by using it to put it over the pocket.
Yeah, there are different schools of thought in this position. When you're 7-1 up, you've got some license to go for things, but at the same time, no point inviting your opponent back into it. She doesn't need to prove anything in terms of the performance. We've seen how well she's played, so just getting that last frame is the key thing.
Good safety there.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
If Amy can nick that yellow, she'll develop that now. Which she's done. So Amy's yellow's looking dangerous.
So the bottom left-hand corner pocket could be significant. If Kerry can look for an opportunity to get a red round there, that might buy her a bit of time.
As you said, she's opting to play this in there now. I think she's been unlucky there and left a gap again. And it's fractions between winning and losing a frame, that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a well-struck shot. Goodness, if she's left a gap there, it's a tough game, isn't it? I mean, she couldn't really have hit that very much better from quite a lot of distance.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you feel Kerry's had a little bit of bad run in a few of the frames.
Yeah, that's often the way it goes. You go a couple behind and then suddenly the luck seems to turn against you.
So Amy's first real chance at her second world title. Her hardest positional shot is getting back up the top of the table for that yellow, and then possibly having to come all the way back down. So a couple of good positional shots here from Amy.
This is the main shot here now, isn't it?
She's played that really well. She's come round the back of the black and the red. So 2 balls away. She must be getting excited. That was definitely an excitable shot.
Yeah, a little bit short there. Gives Kerry a little bit of hope.
Amy's thinking about nailing this black in. And it's in. There we have it. World champion.
Well done,
Amy.
champs.
Very well done. And unlucky Kerry. Shouldn't be disappointed at all. She's played tremendous all week.
Stay tuned for some interviews.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't to be today, but what a performance all week by Kerry Griffiths to get to this final. Let's have a big cheer for our runner-up. let's take a word with our winner. Amy, 2 times world champion. How does that sound?
Yeah, not bad.
Did you find it difficult today playing a good friend and a teammate? It's a difficult situation sometimes.
No, we don't really even like each other. We're just from a similar place. No, yeah, of course it's horrible. Do you know, it's the first time I've ever come out and thought maybe the 8-foot's to my advantage, because if it was a 7-foot table the way she's played all week, I think it could have been a really, really different game.
And I was going to say that. How much of an advantage is it to you, not only the different table, but having been in this arena, this is your 3rd final in a row?
Well, the table isn't an advantage to anyone, but definitely being out in the arena before is an advantage, because it's hot. It's a different thing to what we do the rest of the time. So, yeah, the experience, I think, is definitely a factor.
Many congratulations. Let's do the important stuff and give you a trophy. To present the trophy, let's welcome into the arena the President of the World 8-Ball Pool Federation, Joe Fante. One more time, a big cheer for your winner, Amy Beecham.